On any massive engineering project, there's this invisible process that can literally make or break the entire thing. It's the material approval lifecycle. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this critical workflow and break it all down, from the very first request to the final delivery.
So let me ask you this. What is the one thing that quietly sabotages more projects than almost anything else? It's not some big dramatic failure. Nope, it's something way more subtle. Something that's always happening just behind the scenes.
And believe it or not, the answer is right there, hiding in the digital paperwork. Think about it. A single material that doesn't meet the spec, the wrong kind of pipe, the wrong gauge of wire, it can trigger this devastating domino effect of expensive rework, huge schedule delays, and just massive headaches for everyone. So to get a handle on this, here's our roadmap. First, we'll dive into why this is such a high-stakes game. Then, we'll break down the core workflow, step by step. We'll even apply it to a real-world pipe test. After that, we'll see how to automate the whole thing. And finally, show you how this becomes your new engineering superpower.
Okay, first up, the high-stakes approval game. And I call it a game for a reason. Because mastering this system, well, that's truly what separates the professionals who are in complete control of their projects from the amateurs who are just constantly putting out fires.
The main tool we have to win this game is the Material Approval Lifecycle, or MR. And it's so important to get this. This is not just about getting a signature on a piece of paper. As you can see, it is a complete process that guarantees every single item complies with project specs, international codes, and quality standards before it ever even gets close to the construction site.
All right, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the core workflow. We're going to trace the entire journey of a single material, from that first digital request all the way to its physical delivery right there on site.
When you boil it all down, the whole journey really breaks into three main stages. First, you've got the technical review of the datasheet. Second, the official approval from the consultant and actually issuing the purchase order. And third, the physical delivery, inspection, and receiving. Let's dig into each one.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here, with the technical datasheet, or TDS. You should think of this document as the material's resume. It tells you everything you need to know, and your job is to be the toughest, most skeptical hiring manager imaginable. This is your first and most important quality gate.
So, during this review, your team basically becomes a critical gatekeeper. They're not just mindlessly ticking boxes, they are asking some really tough questions. Do the specs on this sheet perfectly match what the project demands? Is this thing compliant with codes like ASTM or ISO? Is this vendor even on our pre-approved list? Every little detail from ratings to dimensions to its origin gets scrutinized before it ever gets passed on to the QA/QC team.
And you know what? All that checking boils down to this really clean, simple binary formula. The TDS only gets approved if the spec match is true and the vendor list check is true. If either one of those is false, the process stops right there. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Okay, so let's say the material passed its technical interview. It's now ready to move to the second stage, getting that official green light from the consultants or the client, and then turning that approval into a real, actual order.
So here's what happens next. The approved MAR goes to the consultant for their final look. Once they give the official thumbs up, this is where the magic starts to happen. A purchase request is automatically generated. Procurement then issues a local purchase order, or LPO, and boom, instantly alerts go out to all the key people through WhatsApp and email. This is the system connecting the technical side to the commercial side seamlessly.
All right, so the material has been approved on paper, it's been purchased. Now comes the moment of truth. This is the final stage, where that digital approval meets physical reality right there on the construction site.
When that delivery truck rolls up, the QA/QC team jumps into action with a material inspection request, or MIR. They are physically cross-checking the items that were delivered against the MAR that was approved, verifying the brand, the model, the country of origin. If it all matches, fantastic, it gets scanned into inventory. But if not, a non-conformance report, or NCR, is issued, and that material is rejected right on the spot.
So that's all the theory, but let's make it real. Let's apply this entire workflow to a super common scenario, a submittal for a PPR pipe that's going to be used in a chilled water system.
Okay, so take a look at the TDS review for this pipe. The type? Check, it's a match. The use? Yep, chilled water, that's a match. Pressure rating? Looks good, it matches. But then we get to the SDR, the standard dimension ratio.
The project needs an SDR of 11, but the pipe that was submitted has an SDR of 13. That, my friends, is a critical failure. And even though everything else was perfect, this one mismatch stops the approval cold. This is the system working exactly as it's supposed to.
And this is where the process becomes incredibly powerful. Every single one of those little pass-fail decisions doesn't just disappear. It all feeds into your larger project data. By tracking every MIR and NCR, you get this live, real-time snapshot of your project's health. Yeah, a 95% acceptance rate is awesome, but that 5% NCR rate, that pinpoints exactly where the potential weaknesses are in your supply chain. You're turning process into pure intelligence.
So, now that we have the manual workflow down pat, it's solid, it works. Let's talk about supercharging it. Let's see how we can take this robust system and make it run at the speed of light, using tools that are probably already at your fingertips.
And here's what that automated flow looks like in action. It can start with something as simple as a WhatsApp form sent by an engineer on site, a bot that instantly converts that into a formal email for the QA/QC team. All the data is automatically logged in a Google Sheet, which then feeds a live KPI dashboard. It's a completely seamless, hands-off flow of information, from the field right to the dashboard.
And just like before, we can capture this whole automated system in one beautiful, elegant formula. A WhatsApp form kicks off an email, which logs data to a sheet, which then powers a KPI engine. It's really that simple and that powerful. And this brings us to our final section, your new engineering superpower. Because everything we've just talked about, it's more than just a workflow. It's a skill that can fundamentally change how you manage your projects and, honestly, how you advance in your career. At the end of the day, mastering the material approval lifecycle isn't really about paperwork. It's about demonstrating the things that make a truly great engineer. Having complete control over your project, having precision in your execution, and having the foresight to stop problems long before they ever happen. And it all comes down to this one simple idea. The best engineers in the world, the ones who deliver those iconic projects on time and under budget, they don't just build physical structures. They build the robust systems that make those structures possible in the first place.
So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. You now have the blueprint for systemizing one of the most critical workflows in all of engineering. So the only question left is, what process in your own work are you going to systematize next?